I don't watch the show that much, but I've seen it.
Who is that? Who is that?
Greg Gutfeld's one of the hosts of The Five, who, if I don't have anything nice to say, I generally don't say anything at all. I would just say this. His show should be called Kat Timpf, not Gutfeld, because she's the funny one on it.
People have to wonder, where does Sunny Hostin get her opinions?
Yeah.
Like you said, and it's obviously from her husband. She has to tell her what to say on The View, because without it, she's got nothing up there. She's not very bright. But the problem with her is that she went full racist.
How do you define wokeness? Because I hear people use the term all the time, and it means something different to everybody.
Well, again, I think it's this collection of ideas that are not building on liberalism, but very often undoing it.
When Greg Gutfeld and Bill Maher team up against The View, it's a reality check. So cutting the hosts can't decide whether to fire back or cut to commercial. By the time they fumble for talking points, the audience is already cracking up, watching the replay and savoring the takedown.
Name doesn't ring a bell. It's time for
Our View on The View. Ugh.
Joy, I'm obsessed with a lot of things that make me laugh every single day of my life, and you, little lady, are right up there with them. I'd love to have you on our show sometime. We'll even stock the green room with your favorite frozen mice. That's what you feed them.
This wasn't debate. It was a televised takedown. Forget petty eye rolls or polite disagreements. When Greg Gutfeld and Bill Maher took aim at The View, they didn't hold back. Gutfeld didn't just clap back. He tore into the show's double standard with live, unfiltered precision. Maher came in wielding that trademark dry, savage humor, dropping truth bombs like he was doing spring cleaning on daytime television. If you still think daytime talk shows are all coffee cups and soft takes, think again. This wasn't Hot Topics. This was a full-on code red. No breaks, no filter, no survivors. The way they dragged the entire show, you'd think it stole their lunch money. And honestly, the studio carpet might need replacing. But what exactly did they expose? Let's set the scene. Gutfeld, the sarcasm so conservative who treats eye rolls like punctuation, and Maher, the liberal firebrand who thinks cancel culture is a bigger threat than climate change. This duo isn't a natural alliance. Yet when these two joined forces to roast The View, the chemistry was undeniable, and the crisis on that couch was real. While New York was pulling sausage off shelves for plastic contamination, yes, that actually happened, Gutfeld and Maher were cooking up something far spicier, sizzling truths served with enough salt and shade to feed the whole internet.
Super far right, and I can't say it enough. I think they're the bigger threat. But don't tell me that the left hasn't changed. Mm-hmm. I'm old enough to remember when it was the conservatives who hated.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a joke. But,
Too dark.
If he were black, he could run for president and probably win. But there she goes again, playing the race card. She's more predictable than gas after a cheesy Gordita Supreme at Taco Bell. For someone named Sunny, she sure is cloudy.
The View stopped being a cozy coffee chat years ago. These days, it's more like a verbal mosh pit where logic gets trampled and facts disappear faster than the opening credits. Toss a Nobel Peace Prize winner into that chaos and give it 5 minutes. They'd be checking if their coffee was spiked with confusion. The show doesn't break down ideas. It steamrolls them with shouting matches, posturing, and performative concern, all served an extra helping of smug. Then came Greg Gutfeld and Bill Maher, and suddenly, it wasn't left versus right. It was common sense versus a daytime circus. Gutfeld, who's practically turned dragging The View into a weekly sport, didn't miss a beat. At this point, when a panelist drops a wild take, he doesn't flinch. He just rolls his eyes so hard the earth tilts a little. One of his signature jabs? That the show pretends to represent different perspectives, but it's really 5 people yelling the same thing, each convinced they're the only genius in the room. Gutfeld even joked that watching The View is like being trapped in a group project where nobody did the homework, but everyone thinks they're the valedictorian. This time, though, he didn't just roast the format. He torched the cast. He lit up Joy Behar for revising history mid-sentence, mocked Sunny Hostin's "I said it," so it must be true energy, and clown on Whoopi Goldberg's flip from moderator to muddled daytime philosopher. Then came the mic drop. Gutfeld cracked that Joy Behar understands racism because she once dressed up as a black woman for Halloween. Yes, that actually happened. But here's the kicker. Joy wasn't even on the show that day. Greg joked that Mondays must be her official pasture days, a weekly sarcasm sabbatical to recharge her eye-roll energy. He compared it to that one friend who always skips plans with a conveniently timed aunt funeral. Maybe Joy just needed time to sort through her hate mail, and that's just from her co-hosts.
That you keep wearing, that red hat that says "Make America Great Again," that tells people that you go along with this. So you might as well just put a sticker on the hat.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Because we see it anyway.
I'm not going to defend Donald Trump ever, but I would never say that we should put this on the cap, because I think you can hate Donald Trump. You can't hate everybody who likes him. Joy is a wonderful human being, and she should not be afraid that people are going to attack her because she said that thing about the on the cap.
Well,
she does not think that as you said to me in the break, you do not think that all the people who are for Trump.
No, I don't.
You don't.
I just want them to pay attention to words like vermin and poisoning the blood and the third.
To Greg, The View isn't a talk show. It's a group therapy session where the therapists storm out and the guests double as emotional tackling dummies. But beneath the sarcasm, he makes a serious point. The show gave up on real dialogue a long time ago. It's no longer about hearing different perspectives. It's admit you're wrong or get steamrolled. Actual disagreement isn't welcome. It's met with dramatic sighs, whispered shade, and side eyes sharp enough to slice egos. Try to get a full sentence out, and chances are you'll be cut off by a smug smirk and a fact-free interruption. Greg dismantled their version of inclusivity, saying it feels less like a warm welcome and more like getting slapped by an Arctic windstorm. In his view, it's not a discussion, it's a gauntlet.
I'm not going to defend Donald Trump ever, but I would never say that we should put this on the cap, because I think you can hate Donald Trump. You can't hate everybody who likes him. It's half the country. I don't want to live in that country. I don't want to live in the country where I hate half the country, and I don't hate half the country.
How dare you disagree?
According to Greg, if you're not marching in step with the View-esque narrative, you're not there to speak. You're there to be humiliated. He didn't sugarcoat it, calling the show what it is: performance activism, a Broadway act with dimmer lights, where the eyebrows do most of the heavy lifting. And he didn't stop with the cast. Greg even threw shade of production crew, quipping, the real host of The View isn't Whoopi or Joy. It's the poor teleprompter guy in the back, sweating bullets and praying for a commercial break before another fact-free spiral flies off the rails on live TV.
That he has opened Pandora's box with some crazies out there.
The only crazies I see around here are those View chicks. Am I right? A cyst would say. But I digress, says the cyst. They talk less sense than me after stealing those pills from Kat's purse. Or peels.
Then Greg flipped the whole thing on its head, claiming The View doesn't even exist in reality anymore. According to him, it's like watching a Twitter thread come to life. Chaotic, messy, and loud for no reason. Feelings trump facts. Yelling drowns out logic, and honestly, he might have nailed it. When asked if he's ever watched a full episode, Greg joked, no woman could survive that unless she's got nothing going on upstairs. He didn't hold back on the panel's so-called progressives either, calling out how absurd it is that they act like nothing has improved. His take? If things aren't getting better, maybe they're the ones standing in the way. You can only imagine the look on Joy Behar's face during that segment. Greg even joked she was probably home thinking, yep, skipping this mess was the best call I've ever made. But he didn't stop there. Greg hinted that her absence might not be so random, especially since Joy has made herself the self-appointed expert on systemic racism, while also being, as he put it, one of the whitest women on TV. And yes, he absolutely brought up the Halloween moment when she dressed as Diana Ross and claimed people treated her differently. Past the audacity.
Yeah, the witch's coven finally shows me some lovin'. Yesterday on The View, yours truly was the subject of conversation. Apparently the broads have no idea who I am, or so they say. Hit it, Gladys.
They said that Gutfeld talks about you all the time.
Who is he? Well, really, who is he?
I don't watch the show.
He has a show.
I don't watch the
never
show.
heard of him.
Yeah.
I guess he's just obsessed with me.
No. Next, Joy's going to say she's never heard of carbs. Seriously, her denial of knowing me is as believable as her red hair.
Just when you thought the roast had peaked. Boom, in walks Bill Maher. Picture it. A man who's built an entire career on being a professional contrarian. Maher doesn't just throw punches. He lobs truth bombs while sipping wine. If Gutfeld is a sniper taking shots from a distance, Maher strolls in, smiles at the camera, and presses the detonator himself. He's that kind of liberal. The one who makes even other liberals shift uncomfortably in their seats. Pro-weed, pro-free speech, and violently anti-BS. So if he's roasting The View, you know there's a serious problem. Maher's biggest gripe? The show has zero tolerance for nuance. In his view, disagreement isn't part of the discussion. It's treated like a threat. Step one, toe outside their group narrative and the conversation ends before it even begins. Say something off script and suddenly you're not a guest, you're a villain. Problematic, misogynistic, or as Maher deadpanned, unenlightened. To him, it's not a panel, it's a tribunal. Step out of line and there's no debate, just a moral diagnosis, a public shaming, and a one-way ticket to the canceled list. Maher tore into the show's habit of inflating every minor disagreement into a full-blown emotional crisis. The moral superiority on display is so thick, he said, it feels like it's part of the official wardrobe budget. When someone brought up the term woke, arguing that criticism of it could help Trump win again, Maher didn't back down. I didn't say it's ruining everything, he clarified. I said that's why Trump could get reelected. One host pushed back, saying woke comes from the black community and originally meant staying alert to injustice. Maher replied, and now it means shutting down anyone who disagrees.
Come on, Kim. Excuse me, I have to say something to you. He told Bob Woodward that it was a very serious issue, and it's airborne, and that it was terrible. And then he went out and told the American people, don't wear masks, it's all going to go away. You have to put some blame on your president. I'm sorry. You're putting it on something extraneous here. Talk to the point, please.
Is this Joy speaking? The same Joy? The same Joy that paraded around in blackface not too long ago? Come on, Joy. I don't think you should be asking these questions. I am.
Excuse me. Sonny,
the black community did not vote for you.
Well,
the black community did not vote for you. What planet
was during
are you
a special election. Sonny, can I speak?
What planet are you living on?
It was during a special election while we...
Maher didn't even flinch. It's not a bad thing, he said, woke culture. Or at least it wasn't. Then he dropped a line that really stung. Watching The View feels like being stuck in a fire drill, while everyone points at you as an arsonist. And Maher doesn't just throw shade, he excavates. He roasted how the hosts toss out headlines from articles they clearly never finished, speak in hashtags like they're trapped in a TikTok comment section, and treat shouting like it's cold, hard evidence. If Gutfeld's gripe is that The View fakes ideological diversity, Maher turns the volume up. They're not just faking dialogue, they're faking curiosity. At this point, he argued, they don't even pretend to want new ideas. Maher's takedowns don't come in hot. They come in tired. Like a weary professor watching his top students turn in a group project scribbled in crayon. He doesn't yell. He sighs. He shrugs. And somehow, that it's even harder. It's not rage, it's disappointment. But here's the wildest part. These two, who probably couldn't agree on the color of the sky, ended up arriving at the same brutal conclusion. The View isn't a panel anymore. It's an echo chamber, the loudest one on daytime TV. And according to both Gutfeld and Maher, it's not even pretending to be anything else. When the dust settled, Greg and Bill stood side by side on the same battlefield, sharing the same ruthless verdict. The View isn't a talk show. It's sketch comedy without the laughs. The panelists, once thinkers, now play characters. The punchlines feel time-traveled. The jokes fall flat. And yet the applause sign still lights up. To them, it's not a conversation. It's political theater, where every issue gets the apocalypse treatment, and the resolution is always some forced group hug laced with passive-aggressive digs and frozen smiles. Maher even joked about the social media chaos that followed. Everyone's been texting me since Whoopi came for me last week. People were like, Bill, enjoy the karma. He just laughed. There's no such thing as karma. Grow up. She comes for me all the time. This one just went viral.
Even all the excuses in the world does not change the fact that 3 people got shot.
Yeah.
2 people.
Yeah.
To me, it's. I'm sorry.
All right. And to me, that's about as educated a legal opinion as the Rittenhouse prosecutor explaining that you should take a beating instead of defending yourself, or that the closer someone is to you with a gun, the less likely they'll use it.
But what really united Gutfeld and Maher was their shared frustration with how The View shuts down independent thought. In that studio, having your own opinion feels riskier than showing up without concealer. Gutfeld calls it ideological theater. Maher? He says it's like a culty brunch with a camera crew. And honestly, both descriptions hit. The ladies of The View? Oh, they weren't thrilled. The moment those roast clips hit the internet, you could practically hear coffee mugs slamming a little harder. And yes, they tried to clap back. A vague line here, a limp joke there. But it was like trying to stop a wildfire with body glitter. All sparkle, no impact.
Someone can legally come to a protest and under the cover of law kill me.
If he were black, he could run for president and probably win. But there she goes again, playing the race card.
While The View scrambled to save face, the internet got the message loud and clear. People on both sides of political mess actually agreed on something and laughed about it. Not a polite forced chuckle, but real, full-bellied laughter. Because the roast wasn't just funny, it was accurate. The View, in all its self-righteous glory, has quietly morphed into the very thing it claims to oppose. Preachy, predictable, and totally disconnected from reality. And the fallout? Peak cringe. Maher dropped one of his signature truth darts. I'm old enough to remember when it was conservatives who hated me. Then another voice chimed in, cutting to the core. This is Bill Maher we're talking about. He's carried the liberal torch for decades, until woke culture made that impossible. That's who he's been to America. And now, he's treated like a villain for daring to go off script.
I mean, 5 years ago, Abraham Lincoln was not a controversial figure among liberals. We liked him. Now they take his name off schools and tear down his statues. Really? Lincoln isn't good enough for you? 5-10 years ago, bedrock liberalism was we are striving to be a colorblind society where we don't see race. Of course, we see it, but it doesn't matter. That's not what woke is. Woke is something very different. It's identity politics. We see it all the time. It's always the most important thing. I don't think that's liberalism. I mean, I could mention so many issues like that.
Things got awkward fast. Just watch Sunny Hassan's face. Listen to the tone shift. Maher may be a lefty, but because he hasn't completely lost the plot, they treated him like a walking red flag. Then, boom, silence. The View had nothing. No real clapback. No sharp rebuttal. Just a few strained smiles and a desperate pivot, pretending they hadn't just been served a 5-course roast medium rare with a side of extra spicy truth. It was like someone finally held up a mirror, and every single one of them chose to look away. Here's the kicker. The same show that claims to love uncomfortable conversations couldn't handle one. The moment things went off script, the whole setup unraveled. Gutfeld and Maher didn't storm in angry. They showed up with wit, facts, and sarcasm. They didn't yell, they observed. They didn't attack, they exposed. And The View? They ducked for cover, hoping no one noticed. Spoiler alert, everyone noticed. Because when a Fox News regular and a liberal comic team up to drag your entire credibility into the spotlight, that's not drama. That's not bullying. That's an intervention. A public, hilarious, and brutally honest one. Zoom out. And this wasn't just two guys roasting a daytime talk show. This was a spotlight on what happens when a platform forgets how to listen, when curiosity is replaced by clout, and disagreement becomes a threat. In that moment, The View wasn't leading the national conversation. They were running from it. Greg and Bill, they'll never swap Christmas cards. They'll go back to roasting each other's politics by next week. But for one wild, glorious moment, they were perfectly aligned. Their verdict was clear. The View has lost a plot. And that tired old script they keep reading from? Toss in the recycling bin, right next to the cue cards they clearly don't need.
She's not very bright. But the problem with her is that she went full racist. She injected skin color into a fairly generic behavior seen in all spouses, regardless of skin color. People marry, they listen to each other, they have something in common with them, they share their political views. She just didn't want to upset her husband by saying her husband makes her do everything, and then she'd have to accuse him of being a racist. Because if he told her that this is what white women do, then he's a racist. You see?
Let's be real. Every voice on that panel says the same thing, just in different tones and at higher volumes. If The View want to be taken seriously again, they need more than stage shock value or token opposition. They need real disagreement. Genuine, messy, uncomfortable back and forth. Because when your harshest critics are sharper, funnier, and more consistent than your paid hosts, that's not just a bad look. It's a full-blown identity crisis. Don't get your hopes up, though. The only thing louder than those dramatic applause breaks is the dead silence that drops whenever someone dares to challenge the room for real. And if you think Maher and Gutfeld are done, dream on. They're not friends, but they found a shared nemesis, and The View won't be sending them holiday cookies anytime soon. Because when the clowns start roasting the circus, it's not just a roast. It's a warning. The real twist? When the clowns sound more sane than the ringmasters, the whole tent's about to collapse. And we're not talking about anonymous trolls or keyboard warriors. This is Greg Gutfeld, Fox News sarcasm sniper, and Bill Maher, the liberal legend who used to lob grenades at Republicans before his first coffee. Even they looked at The View and said, "Nah, this is a mess." Let that sink in. Maher even gave Sunny Hostin her own shout-out, roasting her for just discovering Instacart in 2020. She tried to flex on air about her generous tips, then paused, realizing in real time how out of touch she sounded. She mentioned adding toiletries and fire logs. Fire logs. Maher couldn't help himself. Fire logs, he echoed. When you're explaining your tip habits to seem relatable, it's already too late.
It's about The View. It's become like a medical hospital that displays human misfailure. Like it's like here, let's look at this political oddity. It's like it really is like the left-wing equivalent of a carnival sideshow, except instead of bearded ladies and fat clowns and two-headed cows. Well, let me rephrase that. But The View is a victim of the sunk cost fallacy. How can you now speak the truth when for years you've been telling lie after lie after lie? Now you're carrying this big bag of rocks around you because it's too harmful for their ego to admit that we really were dishonest.
Now we got a conservative comic convinced the world's gone woke teaming up with progressive icon who was untouchable before cancel culture even had a name. And together, they've exposed a hard truth. When both sides say you've lost it, maybe it's time to actually listen, because Gutfeld and Maher, polar opposites in politics, landed in the exact same place. That loud panel show with flying mugs, flashing applause signs, and hosts battling for airtime. It's not a talk show anymore. It's a televised intervention. This is a moment of hits. The View didn't just veer off course. It slammed the gas and crashed straight into its own echo chamber, then locked the doors behind it. Now it's so deep in its own bubble that even the people who once defended it are outside, throwing rocks at the glass.
I think when was Barbara
Walters,
was she still on it back then?
Yeah, she was on it even after she died.
Oh my God. I remember I was on The View and I don't know what or man playing at the time in a movie he was promoting. And I remember I took off her shoe just as a joke, to kind of do something. And her foot, I just like, ooh, that was a mistake.
Oh my God.
And here's the kicker. These weren't trolls, haters, or fringe loudmouths. These were insiders. Bill Maher, he used to roll with that crew. He was their snarky realist, the guy who jabbed both sides and still got a seat at the table. And Gutfeld? Sure, he's always been opposition, but even he had limits. So when he stops smirking and starts roasting like a disappointed dad at a busted school play, it's not trolling. It's a serious warning. And the truth? You can feel it. The View didn't just lose its edge. It actively shoved out anyone bold enough to think for themselves. These days, it's agree with the group or get side-eyed into silence. The real kicker? The ones doing the calling out aren't saints. They're not even pretending to be neutral. They live in the heart of political chaos. And somehow in this moment, they sounded more grounded, more sane, more normal. That's when you know things have gone sideways. So here it is, two total opposites, one messy talk show, and a full-blown masterclass in irony. Because when it takes a sarcastic sniper from Fox News and a liberal icon to pull the plug on the noise, it's no longer just about The View. It's a mirror, and what it's reflecting back. It ain't cute. When the clowns are the only ones making sense, maybe it's time to shut down the circus. If that roast hit harder than a Joy Behar eye roll, you know what to do. Smash that like, drop your hottest take in the comments, and hit subscribe for more no-fluff breakdowns, savage side-eyes, and truth bombs dipped in sarcasm. Turn on that bell, because trust me, the next takedown, you do not want to miss it.